And welcome once again to 5 Homes to Freedom. We are still in Module 1 and we're looking at Lesson 4. Lesson 4 is to talk about your why and your goals. So we start off the lesson talking about or helping you create a vision and understanding what your why is, what's going to make you passionate about this vision. The importance of knowing what your why actually is. Then we'll talk about setting some goals, and then we'll also discuss the value that a mentor or coach can bring to the game as well for you. So to get started with, we'll talk about the vision. Most people actually exist their way through life because they lack a very clear vision with a strong passion, which is what we call the why. So here again, people with no real direction, they just move around in life. They're all lost, confused, unsure. I really like this quote here by Nelson Mandela. Action without vision is only passing time. Vision without action is merely daydreaming. But vision with action can actually change the world. Very powerful statement. So what is your vision? So how do we find this out? Where do you start to ask yourself, where do you want to be 5 years from now? Who do you want in your life? It could be a variety of different things. It could be a brand new car. It could be, tons of new money. It could be helping third world countries with education or providing water sources for these third world countries. Or maybe you just want to achieve the satisfaction of having a brand new home or helping people. It can be whatever works for you. The reality is that most people dream about what they want. What a clear vision is it's a defined dream with a timeline and a strong and deeply strong emotion tied to it. So, question is, what is your vision? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Who do you want in your life? And do you want to have a spouse? Do you want to have a boyfriend or girlfriend? Do you want to have a new business partner? How much money do you want to earn? Where do you want to live? Do you want to live in a new house? Do you want to move to a different area of the country? What do you want to drive? Who is it you actually want to help? So the process to help you create your vision is, first of all, to find a very quiet place to meditate. Now, if you haven't meditated before, then what I would suggest you do is actually go online and Google meditation and download a couple guided meditation videos and just go through that process just to learn how to relax your body, how to empty your mind so that you can get rid of all of those busy thoughts that keep coming in. So get yourself into this quiet place. Then just simply allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to be and do whatever you want in life. Think back to when you were a small child, when you were 5, 6, 7 years of age and you daydreamed all the time. Little boys dreaming to play professional hockey or being firemen, or girls, wanting to grow up and be teachers or doctors. Whatever it was you wanted to do and be back then, that's what you need to do today. What is it you want to do? Allow yourself to dream. Then project yourself into the future, 5 years into the future, not too far, just 5 years into the future. And picture yourself being and doing exactly what you've been dreaming about. Feel the experience. Let's say, for example, you want to own a brand new car, a luxury car. Actually feel yourself sitting in that car, your hands wrapped around the steering wheel. If it's a convertible, you're driving down the highway with the air blowing through your hair. You can smell all the spring smells. Actually experience it. Because what you need to do is create that emotion and the excitement and get that into your subconscious. You do this for all of the things that you want to achieve in your future vision. Once you've got that clear in your mind, what you need to do is create a vision board. Here's an example of a vision board in the bottom right here. And quite often people will just take a piece of Bristol board or a large piece of paper and they'll cut out drawings or cut out pictures from magazines, for example, that represent what it is they want, whether it be losing weight, going on holidays, traveling, fancy cars, new houses, whatever the case may be. They'll paste those onto the vision board and you make it as personal as possible. Now, I suggest you actually draw as much as you can. Even if you claim you can't draw, I suggest you still draw. For example, that hot air balloon. It would be very easy to draw that hot air balloon and use lots of different colors, because what happens is when you engage your creative side of your mind, it really reinforces these dreams and these goals into your subconscious mind. So you want to get them as emotional as possible. Now, I'll share with you my vision board. This is an older vision board that I had. I need to update my vision board, which is another good point. Your vision board that you create today will most likely not be the same vision board that you have a month, 2 months, or even a year from now, because as you go through the process, it will evolve and you'll want to change things on your vision board. You'll see your spouse has something you think, oh, that would be really neat to do together. So you want to integrate that into your vision board as well. Anyhow, this is a snapshot or a picture of my vision board in the house that we were living in before we moved. At the top here, I have a series of pictures of people and events that were very inspirational to me. So Tony Robbins, for example, my wife Joanne and I, we've attended most of his events actually, and some of them twice. And to say they were life-altering would be an understatement. And then a picture of Robert Kiyosaki, who I've had the privilege of meeting numerous times and having dinner with and so forth. Wonderful gentleman. These are all things that mean a lot to me, and they inspire me. Now below that, I've got some hand-drawn items in there. It's a little bit hard to see in the picture, but for example, I've got a picture of Europe drawn out. And that means I want to go to certain countries in Europe. I've got a cabin. I want to acquire a cabin. Below the picture of Europe, I have a large apartment building which I want to acquire. To the left of that, I've got, you can barely see them, they look like funnels, but that's a business model that I'm creating to generate business. So these are all hand-drawn, and I spend a lot of time drawing them, and they really become very emotionally attached to me. Below that is a smaller version of a cut and paste that I did for myself, which was more of a mobile vision board, and I just taped it up onto my big vision board. But you can see there that I've got 3, 6, maybe 10 different items on that vision board. You'll see some people will have vision boards just plastered full, and I would suggest you don't overload your vision board. You want to try and keep it to 10 items or less, because what happens is your subconscious mind has to take all of this new information and all these new ideas and dreams and process it. So you can overwhelm your subconscious mind and end up getting nowhere. Now that section of the vision board is actually a 4x8 sheet of drywall. So I went a little bit overboard. To the right of that, I have another 4x8 sheet of drywall, and to the bottom right you can see gratitude. And what we did there was on Friday nights we would actually capture all of the good points of the week, and that was a very powerful exercise, because everybody has a time or a week or an event that it's just, the week from hell. That's a very common phrase. I just had a week from hell. Well, the reality is, when you think about it and you go back and process it, yeah, there were some things that were terrible during the course of the week, but there were also some good things. And we tend to naturally gravitate to the negative, the bad things. So when you consciously make a decision to focus on the good things, it's amazing how it changes the energy within you and how much better you feel. Plus, at the end of the year, when you go back and look at that list, it's amazing to see what you accomplished over the course of a year. Above that gratitude list, you can see at the very top, I've got the months of the year. That's a goal board. So what I do is I write out the things that I need to accomplish during that month in order to achieve the goals by the end of the year. So that just gives you an example of what my vision board has looked like in the past. So now let's move on to what your why is. So it's great that you've got this exciting new vision of what it is you want to achieve in life and acquire. But the next question, and this is a really important one, is why do you really want that? Now, when I ask a person, why do you want this? Quite often, here's a list of the most common responses that I'll hear. Well, I want the freedom. And my response to them is, well, you've got the freedom. You live in a beautiful country. It's one of the most free countries in the world. You've got people dying, risking their lives trying to come to our countries. That's how much freedom we enjoy. That's not what they really mean, though. Well, I want to have fun, or I want to travel. I want more money is another one. Well, quite often I'll just hand them a $5 bill and say, here you go, here's more money. You just now achieved your goal. And again, that's not what they really mean. So they need to get more specific. But these are the typical responses. So in order to succeed, you need to understand what your true why is. So perhaps, and I'm just throwing this out there and as a general statement, maybe you grew up poor and you were picked on as a child, and there's no way you want your children or your grandchildren ever to experience that. So you're going to make sure that you become successful, and when the going gets tough, you're not going to quit. Or perhaps it's your parents are struggling financially. I had a set of students who they were extremely motivated to succeed with the courses that they were taking, because his parents were back home on the family farm in Saskatchewan, and they were in their mid-70s, still having to work the farm, barely scratching out a living. He didn't want his parents to have to continue working like that. Perhaps you were in an abused relationship or came from an abused family, or maybe you came from a third world country and with no services, and you understand what it's like to have nothing, and you're motivated to achieve more in our country and help your family that you left back in the third world country. These are just some examples of what can really be a motivating factor for you. So what is the true deep-rooted reason for you wanting to what you want to achieve? Okay, until you get to know that, you'll sort of wander around a little bit, and when the going gets tough, you won't have that passion to break through that wall. So I'm going to share with you an exercise to help you understand or discover what your why truly is. So what you do is you find another person. Hopefully it's somebody who understands what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve. Maybe it's another investor, maybe it's your spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend. But whoever the person is, make sure that you both take this exercise very, very seriously. You sit facing each other, knee to knee, not necessarily leaning in like that gentleman is, but you sit facing knee to knee and you stare at each other. Person A will then ask person B what they want. And person A will say what they want, and person B will then respond with the simple question, why? Why do you want that? Person A then has to answer with a very short, clear, concise answer. And what happens here is a lot of people will start going on with a long-winded answer, and person B has to say, no, just keep it quick and short. I don't need a story. So this continues back and forth, and as I say, for the first 3 or 4 responses, it's pretty easy, and you're going to give a lot of those answers that I mentioned I received in the earlier slide. Once you get to the 4th or 5th response, it starts getting a little bit difficult because you can't use the same response each and every time. So you do this for at least 10 times, and 9 times out of 10, you will become emotional, because you're getting down into the very deep depth soul of yourself, and you're uncovering what it is that's really bothering you and making you want to achieve your goals. And until you get to that point, you really haven't discovered it. You may not discover it until you go through this exercise 2 or 3 times. And when you're finished the exercise, if the other person is willing to participate, then you reverse the roles and you help the other person discover their why as well. So to help you out a little bit, here's some resources for you to take a look at on YouTube with respect to determining your why. Simon Sinek, I've watched that video, I don't know how many times, 15, 20 times. I just can't get enough of that particular video. Turning Pro is a really good book. And then Robin Sharma, he has a really good book called The Leader Who Had No Title. Highly recommend that. But you can also go to YouTube and watch that as well, talking about the why. So So once you've discovered your why, it's now time to set goals. So you've got your vision, you know where you want to be, and you know why you want to be there. So now it's time to set goals to help you get there. Now, goal setting, most people know and understand how to do the goal setting, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here. This is a very simple acronym that you can use, but you can also go on to Google and you can just do a search to find goal setting that works best for you. The key here, though, is that you want to make sure your goals are very specific. So going back to, the money, for example, I want to make more money. Well, that's not specific, because if I was to give you $5, you've just made more money, you achieved your goal. When in reality, you want to make $100,000. If it's $100,000 you want to make, then say you want to make $100,000. And you want to get emotional about it as well. Why do you want that $100,000? What's that $100,000 going to do for you in life? How is that going to change your life? Is it going to change your lifestyle? Is it going to change what you drive, how you act, where you eat, where you live? Then you want your goals to be accountable. So can they be tracked? For $100,000, you know that over the course of over the course of a year, you're going to break that down into 12 months. How much do you need to make every month? Well, approximately $8,000 to $9,000 is what you need to make in order to achieve your $100,000 at the end of the full year. You want it to be responsible. So you don't want your goals to, you don't want to lose your friends as a result of your goals. You want to make sure you respect people. So just keep that in mind. Always operate from a level of integrity as well. Touchable, what will you have at the end of the whole process? So at the end of the year, if you've got a 1-year goal, are you able to actually physically touch it and experience it? Because that just reinforces all of that emotion that you tied to it at the very beginning. So again, goals are extremely important to have, and you're going to set goals for each part of your vision. So for example, earlier on, I mentioned that on my vision board, I had 10 items that I was looking at. So I would have 10 sets of goals for each of those things that I want to achieve over the course of the next year or 5 years. Now, if you have a goal that you want to achieve over 5 years, what I would suggest you also do is you chunk it down. So what do I have to do in year 1, year 2, year 3, etc., in order to meet my goal in 5 years? All right. Now, what do I have to do in the first year? And you chunk that down into months. What do I have to do in the first month? So it becomes very, very precise and structured for you to follow. All right, so the psychology of winning formula. This is huge, and this is what I've discovered over my years of investing, is that my success has been tied more closely to the psychology of winning formula than it has to any investing techniques, any tools that I've acquired. It's all in my head. And I would suggest that that's where it is. Your biggest struggle is going to be is in your own head as well. So that's why I spend so much time on this. So the psychology of winning formula. First of all, you create that clear and inspirational vision. Inspirational. It's got to be, there's got to be lots of emotion tied to it. Then understanding what your true why is. So that true why is going to be what motivates you to achieve your vision, to break through any barriers that are thrown up in front of you. Create goals to help you achieve your vision. So now you've got the structure in order to get there. And also enlist the help of others to achieve your vision. So that's going to be a personal coach and mentor. We'll talk about that in a second. But here's a visual for you with the circle of success and failure, because it can go both ways. So you have thoughts, and these thoughts are going to create emotion, your feelings. And your feelings, your emotions are going to cause and inspire you to take actions. The actions are going to produce your results, and the results then are going to reinforce your original thought. Now, it sounds pretty straightforward and simple, and most people have the thoughts or the dreams, the ideas. They get excited about it, and they create the emotions to get going and to start taking action. It's that step between the feelings and the action that causes the biggest challenge for people. So this is where you have the self-doubt come in, the fear come in, and you question yourself. Now you start to, really wonder whether you can actually do it or not. So you get this analysis paralysis. So it's easier to do nothing than to step outside your comfort zone and do something different. Therefore, you don't take any different actions, any new actions. So you end up with the same results you had before. And those same results are going to reinforce your original thoughts, and you're right back to square one again. That's what happens with most of us. That's what happened with me for many, many years as well. So here's somebody that we know quite well, Mr. Albert Einstein. He says that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. And the bottom line is that's what most people do, is they continue to do the exact same thing every day, every week, every year, yet they expect different results. They want different results. The bottom line, though, is that if you want different results, then we must take different actions. So a different way of looking at the word fear, for example, is to forget everything and run, or, this is what I would prefer to do, face everything and rise up. And quite simply, the choice is yours. So some resources to help you work through this whole process outside of this program itself. These are 4 of the top books that I have read. I continue to read. As I mentioned, Tony Robbins, I've gone to all of his programs and highly recommend it. They're not cheap, but wonderful programs to help you break through the barriers that are holding you back. Robin Sharma, The Leader Who Had No Title, a wonderful story. It's written in a story format, actually, but the message is just phenomenal. And then The Science of Getting Rich and Think and Grow Rich, 2 of the most popular books out there for entrepreneurs. The Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I've read that book now 5 times at least, and currently going through a book study. And the book study, this is the first time I've actually done a true book study, and I've done this book study through Bob Proctor, and he's taught me how to do a book study properly. And in this particular case, there's 4 of us doing the study, and we'll read 1 chapter, the same chapter every day for 2 weeks, and we'll discuss that chapter every week as a group. And it's amazing how much more information you get out of that. So highly recommend those books. Also highly recommend you get yourself into a book study. So now we're going to talk quickly just about your personal development with respect to a mentor and or a coach. I mentioned Bob Proctor. I've had many other coaches in the past. Bob Proctor is my current coach that I'm using. I'm just finishing up a program called Thinking into Results, which is a 12-week program. And this program is facilitated by a coach that is trained with the Proctor Institute. In this particular case, my coach is Louise Beckinsale. I've included her contact information there just in case you're interested in reaching out to find out more about the program, the course. Highly recommend it. And the Thinking into Results has really helped me clarify what my goals are and what my passion and my why is. All right, so that wraps up this lesson. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at ken@fivehomestofreedom.com. We will have the live recorded webinar at the end of the lesson, so wait until you attend that webinar to see if your questions are answered. Or if you're joining the program after the webinar has been recorded, visit the webinar to see if the questions have been answered there. And if not, then please feel free to contact me at ken@fivehomestofreedom.com. Thanks very much, and we'll see you in the next video.